everyone. This is Star Zenith 33, Laura Francesca. How's everybody doing? Happy Resurrection Day. Happy Risen Day for those that celebrate the life of Jesus Christ and that today he rose on the third day and he left us his Holy Spirit. And so as a Christian myself, I am very proud of this day. It is, for those that do not celebrate Jesus Day, it is Happy Easter for many. And so I decided to jump on here because I have some really great stuff to talk about with the transits, okay? And so this is why I'm jumping in here, and so let's go. Okay, so right now, and the reason I wanted to jump really fast on here, I just did my coffee, as a matter of fact. I was doing a couple things here in the house, just like cleaning up the house, vacuuming, and, fixing my bed and my pillows, and just, I like to, make sure that it's not dusty or anything like that, because of the air and so forth. But I was just, and I like to perfume my room as well and put some spray, all that. You see those influencers, how they're always like fixing up their house. I'm the same way. I'm just like, and I just finished washing the dishes as well. So with my power wash, no, I'm not branded by them. Okay, not sponsored by them. But I love that power wash. I do have to say, and I have to give credit, okay, where it's due. Let me just take a sip of that. Oh, that's some good coffee. So I want to give this. I don't know you guys. That influencer from TikTok. She's a Latina. She's Mexican. I think. What is her name? Gosh, I forgot her name. But she's very popular. She went viral in TikTok, and she was a housekeeper. Okay, and her story is very fascinating. Where during lockdowns, I think she's a Virgo. I'm not too sure. But it would be so funny if she is because, housekeeper, and she came from Mexico not so long ago. And so, but what happened was that during lockdown, her and her husband, they got canceled. They literally got canceled from housekeeping, hotels, and everything, and she got fired. Well, not fired. I think they just let her go because of the whole pandemic and they just didn't have any more jobs or anything like that. And she decided, so what are we going to do? We need to make money, right? And she decided to use her expertise, her talent, her skills of cleaning homes. And she decided to go on TikTok and she grew her channel really big. Okay, because a lot of people wanted to know, how do I clean my house, and she knew these tricks, okay, because she also worked at hotels and all this, and so she would always clean them, and she knew the best cleaners, the best soaps, the best, everything she uses, right? And so yeah, I'm hearing rags to riches. Yeah, she literally became this rags to riches, and she's not even born here in the United States. Okay, she moved here. I think she's been here about 10 years or so, somewhere around there. Don't quote me but it's something like that. And so she started, doing TikTok videos of how she cleans, and what she did at hotels and everything, and even folding the toilet paper. Okay, folding the toilet paper really fancy, like kind of like little triangles, and I seen one of her videos. I was like, wow, I didn't know that. It's kind of easy. It's not really that hard, but something like that can be like so fancy, And so she was giving these tips and tricks and stuff. And like, I don't know, maybe if I had like a big home, or a mansion or something, I would do something in the guests, but maybe they would not want to touch the toilet paper because it's so fancy. It's like the first toilet paper sheet that has, the whole hotel monogram and everything. And she did it by hand. So anyway, and so she was talking about the power wash, for a wish. I think it's for, I don't know why I said wish, something about washing the dishes. And you could use it for your toilet as well. You could use it for anywhere, your shower and everything, the tile. And I love that power wash. And I don't know why I never really went to the store and be like, let me look at what's the best soap. But when I see her video and she recommended the power wash, right? I think, I don't know what brand it is, but it's called a power wash and it's a blue and it comes in lemon scent and April fresh or something, fresh clean or something. And so I bought it. I said, let me try it, because it looks like it's it has like very bubbly. And so I bought it and I started washing my dishes with it. I was like, oh my God, this is the best invention ever, right? And so I started washing my dishes and I was so happy. And I was like, oh, I wouldn't have known had I not seen her video. Because I'm not really, when I go to the store, like shopping for like home goods and stuff like that or kitchen items, I don't really look at, I bypass it, for some reason. I always go with my original, soap that I normally just put in the basket, right? I don't really look at, the soap and see what's, which is the best one and stuff. But when somebody recommends it, it's powerful, and that's why I think TikTok has become powerful because a lot of these influencers that recommend products of what it does, some of them do exaggerate. I'm not going to lie. But, somebody that cleans houses and knows soaps and everything, I said, why not? Right? So, and ever since then, I didn't go back to any other soap. Okay. And usually when we have other soaps, I'm like, no, I'm not going to use that soap. I can't. I like to do things really quick. And what the power wash does is just a spray, and it just sprays the soap and you wash the dishes. I wash my dishes really, really fast, like I'm on crack. Okay, but I'm not on crack. Okay, and it's like I just finish them faster. It's a hack, in other words. When it's a spray, it's just a hack to just spray it on. You don't have to be putting it on whatever. Anyway, so this podcast is not about that, but I just want to give, a shout out to, Latinas and Mexican girls that, she has a very powerful story because she's, like I said, she's not from here. She's not a U.S. citizen. Maybe she is now, because what happened with her story was that she was discovered by Clorox. Okay. And she was discovered also by Scrub Daddy. So, the Scrub Daddies, those that for the wish, I keep saying wish, for the washing of the dishes. And so, and I know why that is going on, and I'm going to talk about that right now. But yeah, they gave her, Daddy sponsored her and made her like the head of the board. Okay, she's like in the boardroom or something. So she's making decisions. I don't know really. I haven't really been following her now. So I don't know what she's doing now, if she's still doing that or because I haven't really seen a lot of her videos trend. So, but this started in 2020 during lockdown. So she started doing videos and they started just going viral because people just liked the way she was cleaning. And Clorox, the brand Clorox founder, gave her a deal, and so did Scrub Daddy. And now she's like the main in the boardroom. She makes decisions on Scrub Daddy, and the decisions are not based on a marketing team, but they're like she has her own team. Like they gave her own team. Say you're going to be the main one of Scrub Daddy, and you're going to give ideas, and you're just going to address those ideas, and they're going to get to work. And so she has her own team. And imagine that. So that's a powerful story, and just because you have talents and skills and you just say, you know what, let's just do some videos on TikTok. And her husband went viral. And she has a beautiful house too. So, I mean, obviously, if you're sponsored by Clorox, it's a really big brand, and Scrub Daddy at the same time, and you're making decisions. She became a business person and she didn't need to clean homes anymore. And where she does a lot of her videos is in her kitchen, a beautiful kitchen. It's like all white and everything. And so I don't know, I just got inspired by her story. I get inspired by Latinas and Hispanic girls, Mexican girls that are ambitious and are willing to just say, I don't have this, but I'm going to do this and let's see what happens. And that's what happened. She's a rags to riches story. And so I haven't seen her videos, but I haven't had really had time to do that, but anyway. So ever since I bought, I actually have Scrub Daddy sponges as well, okay? And they are so good. Oh my God. Now they have Scrub Mommy. So, and I just like them, and they last a long time too. Oh my gosh. So maybe Scrub Mommy came from her. Mm. But anyway, enough of cleaning here. Let's talk about, let me actually refresh it here. The moon in Scorpio, it should still be in there. Yeah, it's still there. Okay. So the moon is in Scorpio right now. And okay, I was looking at the time. Okay, I'm at 10 minutes. The moon is in Scorpio at 29 degrees. Um, it's the last final degree. It is a critical degree. It is a graduating degree. It is where a lot of things happen. Okay. And so right now, maybe this is why we're feeling more passionate. Um, we're feeling just just excited, when the moon is in Scorpio, it's not in the best position there, by the way, with the moon, but it's at a 29-degree of Leo. So it's very, performance. It is very, just, you can feel it, the energy, and you're just passionate. And so that's where it's at. It's about to wrap up. Okay, so once the moon goes in, I actually didn't even know the moon was in Scorpio. I knew it was in Libra, and I knew we were gonna get off of it, but I haven't really been consistently doing the astro weather, which I should, But I'm just, I'm trying to get in the rhythm of it because I was working on my website, and now that I finished completed my website, I can go ahead and by the way, if you guys are interested, you guys can go to www.starzenith33.com in case I forget. And that is where you can book any readings. If you want to know about your chart, there's different type of charts on there. Or if you just want to talk to me and do some life coaching on there, maybe it does not pertain to anything with astrology. Maybe it has to do with psychology or trying to overcome, struggles or need to speak with someone, there's an hourly rate on there. And what else do I got on there? I got and there's a couple of readings those for that are traders. Okay, they're having to deal with their mindset with neuroscience, and how to have more balls, right? And not be fearful, and and things like that. I personally, I don't know about trading, and I'm going to be honest, but I do know about the mind. Okay, and I am certified as a life coach. Okay, and I think I'm very good at it. So, and the reason I laugh is because, I haven't actually been putting myself out there, but I have the skills and the talents and the certification as well. And so there's different charts on there. You could just go check them out there. And besides doing the Podbean podcast. So let's jump in here. The moon in Scorpio, it's at the very last final degree. We're pretty excited. We're especially those that went to church this morning, that were praying to God. You probably felt the Holy Spirit. Okay. And, that's one thing I do miss going to church. I'm not going to lie. I like Sundays, and I miss those days, but it doesn't mean that I cannot have a relationship with Jesus Christ, with God, because I do read my Bible. I slay with my Bible. So, and I do have a relationship with God. I am baptized in the Christian faith. And, I actually pulled a couple cards because I have this word deck and I have a bunch of words on there. They're just words. And I pulled them out, just based on the frequency for today. And it was talking about the next level. And the Holy Spirit was another card that I pulled out as well. Something about in 5G, okay, something elevated, which, the irony that today, many years ago, many centuries ago, many renaissance ago, Jesus Christ, he ascended from being in this cave where he was trapped, right? And we just got off the Libra full moon, which was all about escaping the hole, the dark hole, right? And rising up. That's literally what happened today. many, many years ago, right? And it is what Jesus did. He came out of the cave, and people were like, oh my God, where do you go? You know? So for those that have been in caves, and I've been trapped in a bat cave and I came out of it, okay? And it's the best thing in the world once you come out of that cave or wherever you're trapped. And it was a symbolic of the Libra full moon. I want to talk a little bit on it because it coincides with this. The Libra full moon that we just got off in the Siberian symbol, it was about miners that are trapped in the mine, and they're all dirty and oily, and they work really hard, right? And a lot of them die down there as well because there could be like earthquakes or I don't know. I don't know really what happens down there, but a lot of them do die. And it's very, very hard work. And my grandfather used to do that before he became the Coca-Cola man. And no, he did not invent Coca-Cola, for those that want to know. No, he just invented, I mean, he invented candy, actually, a candy store. And so he sold a lot of marshmallows, and Coca-Cola was his best seller. And then Pepsi was the second best seller. And then he sold like Sprite and Squirt. And I've talked about that story about my grandpa, which I'm very, very proud of him because it was in a time that, he was an entrepreneur, without the internet many, many years ago. But he started off as a miner. And then he said, oh no, this is hard work. He was a Libra, and he had Mercury in Libra as well. So, when you have the Sun and Mercury in Libra, you don't do hard work. Okay, you do intelligent work. You work smart, not hard. And he was able to, make connections with Coca-Cola and Pepsi and Sprite and Fanta and all these brands, and sell it in his candy shop. But a lot of kids back in those days, they drank a lot of soda. And the soda over there is less sugar than over here. They use sugar cane. I love the soda, like a really cold Coca-Cola from Mexico. Oh, those taste so good because it's not sugary, it's sugar cane, but it's still soda. But once in a while, I like to have a good Coca-Cola, and with my seafood, my ceviche. It's the best with the ceviche. So anyway, and so it was about miners being trapped in there and then coming out of the hole. And then now, today, Jesus Christ ascended and he is sitting on the right hand side of God. And so he ascended as well. He got out of the minor hole, the cave where he was trapped, right? And it's symbolic for all of us that seem to be trapped in a dark hole. And a dark hole can be addictions, there could be bad habits, adapting to things that are just not good, you know what I mean? That unhealthy habits. And it could be like maybe not eating well, maybe eating too much sugar, and maybe just habits that are very comforting, that are very familiar, and not wanting to get out of your comfort zone. And so I feel that if you're very traditional and you like to be in your comfort zone and it has made you money, you're doing good successfully. You still have to innovate a little bit, right? But I think, if it's working for you and that's how you're making money, which I don't think that's really real, because I don't think even the most richest people, they have to protect their money they have to take it out of this bank, put it in this bank. They're all withdrawing money and creating other forms of money, right? And so not everybody right now is stable. There's a very instability. So if you feel unstable, like don't blame yourself. Everybody's going through it. We're all going through this. A lot of people are losing money right now. They're losing assets and homes. They're fighting bankruptcy, and it's going to get stronger and stronger. But what I can say is, because I'm not somebody, that brings fear into astrology, but I am being real. You know what I mean? We do have to move. We do have to take action and pivot here, pivot. If that's not working, pivot here, pivot there, in an unstable world. We're very unstable. There's this reset that is happening. It's a 1 year for the collective. right? One is a year of initiation. And so for, as far as today, for Easter, for Resurrection Day with Jesus Christ, it is a reset. It is initiation time. It's the beginning. It's going to the next level. What is your next level? Because that is where Jesus Christ, when he ascended, he went to the next level. Like he's no longer here on earth, but his Holy Spirit is. And that's why I say pay attention, because the Holy Spirit card came out. And it was about paying attention to the air, to the wind, to the trees, to the birds, to the animals, right? Go out in nature and connect with God. Because that's what I do. When I'm out in nature, I hear downloads, a lot of them, especially when I'm in the water. When I'm in the, like at the beach or something like that, I'm just walking through the beach and I just hear downloads. I just hear something like, oh, look at that. Oh, pay attention to that. I have conversations, and it could be my ancestors as well. But it's interesting, my life now. It was not like this at all. And it's part of growth. But the moon right now, it's wrapping up, and then it's going to go into Sagittarius. Okay. I had to think that for a bit. It's going to go into Sagittarius. And we might be feeling the optimism of Sagittarius already, because when it's at the 29 degree, it's already about to switch off. Okay. And so, as a matter of fact, let me look at, yeah, it's 29:32. So, I would say maybe about another hour or two is going to switch into the moon in Sagittarius. And, we're going to be feeling more optimistic, want to travel, want to explore, want to teach, want to learn. And, but we're feeling that energy already, even at the 29 degree in the moon in Scorpio. So the moon in Scorpio is just very passionate, very magnetic. It's just very exciting, especially at a 29 degree of Leo. So imagine Scorpio Leo energy. It's very super magnetic. Or it could be really quiet. But when it's at the 29 degree, I don't think it is. Because that's Leo. Leo wants to be in the spotlight. Leo wants to shine. It wants to be known. It wants to be recognized. And I had mentioned that in X that there was some great transits. So let's talk about those. The moon in Scorpio right now is trining Mars in Pisces. Okay, they're both water signs, and they both get along very, very well. Let's see. Mars in Pisces is at 26 degrees of wealth. Okay, 26 degrees of banks. And where Mars in Pisces is, it's in the 8th house of transformation. Okay, and the motto there is we have. So there is about financial matters, spiritual matters. It encompasses legacies and trusts, wills, taxes, insurance matters. Okay, anything that has to do with joint finances that rules the 8th house. Okay, how you make money with a partner. And it's in the sign of Pisces. And when it's in Mars, it's pretty aggressive there. So what I can say is that could be Jesus energy. Okay, we know that he was a Pisces as well. And in the 26 degree of wealth of banks. Okay, so as it makes a trine in harmony with the moon in Scorpio of how we feel. Okay, it's a good thing. This is for a lot of people that are in church. Let me tell you, I can tell you the Holy Spirit in the churches, you could feel it. You could feel it, or in the beach. I've seen a couple of videos, okay, of people in the beach, and they are worshiping Jesus, right? They're worshiping God, and especially Jesus, his son that died on the cross. And today he ascended, he elevated. So you could feel that in the beach, okay? I could tell. Because Mars is in Pisces. Pisces rules the beach, the water, the ocean. As a matter of fact, another thing that I do want to say is that here in our town, in where they're doing all the construction, is called West Harbor in San Pedro, California, Port of Los Angeles. And I've never seen dolphins. So that was kind of cool to see it. You know what I mean? I'm like, did they put those dolphins on there? to do a video. They probably did. But they looks like they were having so much fun. You know what I mean? There was like three dolphins and they were just, going in the water and out the water. And I was like, oh, I wish I could have seen that and take a video of that. Because it's just so close here, and but was we never see dolphins, but it was just so funny to see it. It was kind of cool, to tell you the truth. And so that could be Mars in Pisces, like marketing, something to do with the water, and then how we feel also with the moon in Scorpio. Also, that has to do with water and being magnetic and just being like, oh, wow, look at that, I could imagine maybe if some kids seen it, they probably, because there's always people walking around there in the boardwalk there, where these dolphins were, and they probably thought it was a treat for them, So I've never seen dolphins there, so that was pretty cool. I see sea lions, a lot of communicative sea lions, but never dolphins. So that was pretty cool for today. Another thing too here is that the moon is making a trine to Saturn. Okay, Saturn has to do with billionaires. It has to do with discipline. It has to do with faith. I always say, to me, Saturn is like God, and because God expects for us to have discipline, and that's how Saturn is. But sometimes it could go to the dark shadow, so you gotta pay attention to what you're listening to. Because it could be, that motto of do what I say, not what I do. And so that even can come from like police officers. There are some corrupt ones and then there's some good cops, and so, and not all cops are to be trusted, let me tell you. So, you know, Saturn there, but they are here to serve and protect, right? And we should, but we see a lot of violence and everything going on. So we would like to trust them. That's what we would like to trust them, but you just got to discern. Okay, you got to have discernment on that. That not everything should be obeyed, right? It just kind of reminds me of somebody say, "Oh, obey me," and then something bad happens out of that. You know what I mean? So you know where I'm getting to. So just discern. But it's in harmony with Saturn. It has to do with protection, with billionaires. It has to do with um, the church. Okay, Saturn rules the church as well, and so it's getting along very well right now. Saturn is in Aries, so there could be very much protection there because Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars will go to war, and is here to protect, or maybe you feel like somebody wants to protect you, or says, like, I want to protect you, and it could be somebody like Capricorn, like somebody that wears a lot of brown, somebody that is a business owner, somebody that rules with bones, okay, anything like that. It rules billionaires as well. It rules wealth. And so it's getting along very well with the moon in Scorpio. The moon also, I do have to say that the moon is opposing Uranus, okay? And Uranus is in Taurus. So it's opposing this rebellion, okay? So this is a day that it's not really asking for you to be rebellious. It's for you to be more traditional. Jesus just rose up, and it is asking for not to be so rebellious. It kind of reminds me of Jesus Christ. When Jesus Christ, before he got crucified, he was a rebel, right? He was moon in Aquarius, very rebellious, and he didn't want to obey. It's like, no, and he just wanted to teach. He wanted to teach finances. He wanted to teach everything, and he was there for the people. And then when he got arrested, they wanted answers from him, and he didn't want to give those answers. And so they hit him, and then they crucified him, right? And so he was a rebel during that time because, we don't know the actual story of Jesus Christ, but if we see the Passion of the Christ and the things that Jesus did, I'm like, I don't know if I would have did that. I don't know if, maybe I would have lied or something. I don't know. Um, but the way he was very like fixed. Aquarius moon are fixed. Okay, um, Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. I was thinking something else. Anyway, and so those are all fixed signs. So if you have all of that, you're very fixed. Like, you don't. It's hard to change your mind. And you believe in what you believe. So Jesus Christ with the moon in Aquarius was, this is my belief, you know. And he was very rebellious, and he would like flip tables if they sold in front of the church, and like products and stuff like that. I said, this is not a place to sell. And he would flip tables and just very rebellious, even with his mom. He would throw water at her, just like very rebellious. And so the moon right now is opposing Uranus, right? Which is opposing this rebellion, because now Jesus is no longer that, right? Jesus is now sitting on the right side of God, right? And he's being more Saturnian, not such a rebel like that. You know what I mean? Now he's on the next level, right? He's doing next level things, and overlooking everything we're doing, which is messy, okay? But he has chosen his people to do the things that need to do so things could get fixed. So that is what's happening with the moon opposing Uranus. It's opposing this rebellion. Let me look at where Uranus is at the 28 degree of ancestry. Okay. 28 degree of real estate. 28, it's a degree that is ruled by Cancer, and Cancer has to do with real estate and families and children and babies and kids. So this moon that is opposing this rebellion in Taurus, there might be some children that might want to rebel, tendencies to rebel, right? And that part comes from the ancestry. I don't know why I'm hearing Illuminati. I'm hearing something about Illuminati. I don't know why. And so it comes from ancestry that they're just prone to rebel, and just, it is what it is. They in their DNA, they're just rebellious like that, right? And so let me look at what house it's in. It is in the 10th house of elevation. Okay, a public participation of I relate with the world, right? It's where you get your awards, your applause, your recognition. The 10th house, it is your status, okay, ambition, recognition, promotion. Also the carrying out a responsibility, because the 10th house, it requires to be responsible in order for you to get that type of money. But if we're talking about children here, then there could be something to do with, or families. It doesn't always have to be children. It could be families. But we know Cancer rules children, right? Cancer is like it could be like even older people that act very immature, um, people that are just like, they'll say something and in their communication, and or it could be somebody that has a lot of money and is very immature. It could be even billionaires that are very immature, and it's opposing the moon in Scorpio. It's like, grow up. You know what I mean? It's just very super rebellious. It could be a business leader as well. Super rebellious, and in the 10th house of elevation, like it's known. It's known very much. It's probably very famous, or very popular, and it just acts like a child. And so there could be an opposition there with the moon in Scorpio. Okay, it's nothing bad. It just pay attention to that. Like, don't listen to that. You know what I mean? Like, it's having a temper tantrum, right? And so, but it could also happen to a child. It's just a well-known child. Okay. Another thing too here, that the moon is trining Neptune, so that's a good thing. Trining Neptune is in harmony with the water, with the ocean, and that's very spiritual. If you are, in some kind of church Easter church in, like I mentioned, some videos in the beach, and the Holy Spirit is there. Okay, especially with the moon in Scorpio. Wow, you will feel the Holy Spirit there. You know, and it's getting along very well with the ocean, with the beach, with the water. Also, the moon is sextile Juno. Okay, so it's making an opportunity with marriages. So maybe we're prone to see a whole lot more marriages that are getting along very well. Okay, with the moon in Scorpio, and then Juno, I believe, is still in Capricorn. Let me see here. It is where are you? Oh, here you go. No, as a matter of fact, I'm glad I checked. Um, it actually switched now to Aquarius. Okay, it got out of Capricorn, and so in a way, it's good. Okay, for those that had Juno in Capricorn, they probably were having um, problems with their marriages, and that is because we have so much Aries, you know what I mean? And so it was making squares to Juno and Capricorn of your marriage. And, it was about taking leadership, and there could have been arguments. There could have been something to do with real estate, anything to do with that. Okay. Also the stocks. What was going on with the stocks? The gold was going down, the silver was going down, and there's still, we're still going to be experiencing a whole lot more crashes in the stock market and real estate. But we'll work that out, right? As we go by, and and hopefully you listen to the podcast, because I do that. I'm hearing you're detailed. I'm like, thank you. And I just enjoy talking about the astro weather, because we can decide and make better decisions. And so now for the Capricorns, they go scot free, right? They're not having problems with their marriages, and maybe they're getting along way better now. Now that it's in Aquarius, okay, is conjuncting Pluto. Okay, Juno, that means that these families now, for the collective, is that they're being empowered. Okay, they're being empowered, they're being electric. Aquarius rules electricity, electric, magnetic, or maybe they're even seen as stars. Okay. Maybe if you're with a partner, it doesn't always have to be marriages. Okay. Juno also relates to partnerships. Like you might be in a partnership and you're a star and they become a star, or they become a star because you are a star. And I'm not talking about movie stars. I'm talking about people that shine bright. I'm talking about people that, have that glow, that Jesus glow. You know what I mean? Like, people, and they've told me this before. They've told me before, I don't know, what is it about you? Like you glow. And I said, it's a Jesus glow. It's God. You know what I mean? And I do wear creams and like sometimes like oil on my face and stuff like that, and makeup and everything. But sometimes it doesn't matter the makeup. It doesn't matter all that. You could just see somebody that has Jesus in their life. You just could. That has God in their life, right? They just shine, right? And you could just see the light. You see the light in them. And so we might start to see that in couples, in partnerships, and it's amazing when you work together, because that's what Juno is. It's about partnering together, and it has to do with the fifth house. Now, the fifth house, and I gotta say, I'm not gonna show off on my nephew and my niece, but they used to call them what is it? The Magic Kids or something like that. I forgot what it was. Somebody had named it in social media, something about those two kids. They're like, I don't put pictures of them anymore, but before I used to, you know, just be proud of my niece and my nephew. But they used to call them. There was something about a glow within those kids, the Magic Kids or something. They named them the Magic Kids. I once seen it in social media. I was like, oh, okay. I just stopped, like, not posting anything, because for privacy reasons, and they're too young to be put out there and stuff like that. But I do see them, like, they shine a lot, and beautiful, beautiful kids. But anyway, here in Juno, where it is in the marriage, is in the fifth house of I express. Okay. It is also about children. It rules your hobbies, games, vacations, amusement parks, pleasure, enjoyment. Okay, it's who you date as well. Okay, so maybe whoever you're attracted to now, they might be Aquarius like, okay, or they might be an influencer because Aquarius rules influencers. Okay, they might be an influencer, they might be somebody that and especially if you have Aquarius in your chart, like for me, I have Jupiter, so this Juno is going to be on my Jupiter. Actually, it's already on it because it's an early degree. And so I might be attracting a whole lot more people, or just guys that might see me like, or men that might see me like their wife, you know, or something like that, Um, I don't know. I'm just feeling that rebellious for some reason. Yesterday, I just went a little bit on a tangent. I went, or I don't know. And like I mentioned, I do like to story tell on here. And I was doing laundry yesterday and I was just in a happy mood, and just being my humble self and doing laundry and just dancing and listening to music on my headsets. And that are I love my headsets. The ones I actually bought it for my podcast, but that didn't work out. So I will only use it. They have like, I don't know, they're really good quality. And so I was just like enjoying washing and drying, and this guy was looking at me. I didn't even realize that he was looking at me. I was like, because I don't really pay attention to who's looking at me. And he was looking at me just kind of like smiling, and he was with his girlfriend, but he just couldn't stop staring. And I was like, God, I'm not even like all dressed up either. You know what I mean? I don't know why he was staring so much. And but I wasn't like dancing like oh my God, look at me a lot like that. So I was just bowing my head to the side and moving a little bit my waist, and but it wasn't really. I don't know, this typical Latina, right? But his girlfriend got mad, you know, and I was like, oh, great, like I'm not trying to, strike up there for them to argue and stuff, I just like, let me get out of here. Let me hurry up and get out of here. Um, but it's about expression, Juno and Aquarius, you might do rebellious things like that, maybe want to dance in the street, maybe just be your magnetic self. Maybe if you're an influencer, this is a great time for influencers to partner with brands, to partner with people that are magnetic and are able to shine like that, not embarrass, and or maybe embarrass yourself, right? Be a little bit, embarrass yourself a little bit. This also rules the fine arts. Um, it rules groups and parties and social entertainment. Your compatibility, okay, with children, with partners, okay, with people. We're more social, okay, now with Juno. It's not so serious when it was in Capricorn. Now, and then it's off Saturn and Neptune, okay? So now that Juno's in Aquarius, it's making trines, okay? So it's making a conjunction with Pluto, and is forming an opportunity with Neptune. I said trines because I have a bunch of trines in my chart. I was thinking my chart. And so this Juno in Aquarius is making opportunities with Neptune and Saturn in Aries. Okay. And it's coming together with Pluto, which is magnetic, right? So right now, a lot of marriages, a lot of partnerships, or people that want to partner with others they could even go viral, okay, if they want to, if they're into that. Um, and it's so easy to go viral right now, okay, with this Aquarius, and is forming opportunity with Saturn and Neptune. So I mean, it does require, when it makes opportunity with Saturn, it does require also to have some standards, okay? Not to be so wild, not to be so, out there, because then you're gonna be perceived as not classy, okay? When you're too Aquarius, you're perceived as not being too classy, This is why a lot of Italians are very Capricorn, right? And you know, they're very, they dress well and they go to fancy parties, and they're considered very classy, right? And I feel Hispanics, like Mexicans, they're very Uranus, they're very Aquarius. because we are inventors. Okay, we invent things, we invent food, and we'll come up with the weirdest thing. What is that? The latest thing that I've heard and I seen actually in my farmers market. Or actually, we have a monthly art walk. That's what it was. It was a monthly art walk, and they were selling cups with strawberries and the Dubai chocolate. And so they smash the Dubai chocolate in the strawberries, and you get to eat it. I don't know. I was kind of thinking like, God, it kind of looks like it would taste a little bit good, right? Because the chocolate tastes really good, It's a pistachio chocolate, but the chocolate costs a lot of money, okay? It's not cheap. I spent, I think I spent like almost $20. I wanted to buy it so bad. And they had it at one of my stores here where I buy my lottery tickets, and they were selling them just right there in the stand. And I said, oh, these are these pistachio chocolates. So I bought one. It was like almost $20. And so I just bought it because I said, it's about experiencing, right? And so I wanted to know what it felt like because I am a Pisces, and we tend to get FOMO. Pisces, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Virgos get FOMO. But I think Virgos are the ones that get the least FOMO, and which is fear of missing out. I think they're the ones that are not too, like, they won't jump right away. They got to think. Maybe they'll overthink it, right? But usually Pisces, Sagittarius, and Gemini, they're the jumpers, and they're the ones that will jump. They're quite rebellious, you know what I mean? Like they're just, and because we don't want to, we have the fear of missing out, like we don't want to miss out. So I wanted, and I seen the cup, I was like, God, but I wonder how much is it? If the chocolate is expensive and they smash it in there with strawberries, it has to be expensive. So that, I think that's the greatest invention Mexicans could have created. Because they charge a lot. They charge a lot. Even the waters that they sell, oh my gosh, they're already like $10 for like one cup, So anyway, but we're inventors. But there has to be this standard, okay, with these marriages in Aquarius, as it creates an opportunity with Saturn in Aries, okay. So some sort of standard with when it comes to taking action, leadership, and so forth. And so you could become classy. You know what I mean? You don't want to be too wild, too wild. So we talked about that with the marriages. So that's a good thing. Also, for those that are into beer, okay, is making an opportunity. Is actually in harmony with beer. Okay. Where is beer? I think beer was it in Taurus? Beer, let's see, the moon is, I said I would trine, right? Yeah, I think it's in Taurus. Let's see. It's oh no, that's gold. Oh no, it might be Aries. Yeah, it's Aries. Okay, so the moon is making a trine to beer in Aries. Okay, at 6 degrees of your local community. Okay, it's the degree of Virgo, so it might be a Virgo Aries type of beer. There's a bunch of beers that they're promoting and everything, and so it might be something to do with that. Something to do with, it's interesting. It might be like a healthy beer. Because 6 degrees also rules health. So it might be something like not too strong, you know what I mean? It's something that they do make healthy beers that, some are low calorie. Maybe those are going to be trending. Okay. Let's see. Maybe like, I don't know, just different type of beer. Right now there's so many cool beers. I was at the store, I think it was yesterday, and I seen like a Hawaiian beer. And they had some like with the coconuts and the palm trees. I was like, what does that taste like? It's so interesting. The moon also is making a harmonious trine with gold. Okay, good time to invest in gold or to wear gold jewelry, gold makeup, or anything like that. So that's a good thing. The moon also is trining here banks. So that's a good thing. Okay, they're getting along very well with banks. Okay, the moon is Scorpio. And let me look at where I think banks is in Aries, right? Yeah, it is. So I'm asking you guys like you guys know, right? The moon is making a trine in with banks at 4 degrees of control. Okay, so there's some sort of control when it comes to banks or stability. There might be right now, maybe it just depends. I know it's happening for billionaires. There's some billionaires that can't pull money out because of certain circles they're in, you know. And the 4 degree can be like it's foundation. It's oh my right ear is ringing right now. Hang on. Let me just okay, it's gone. So banks at 4 degrees is about foundation, very kind of like Masonic, you know. It is some it holds some sort of control, but it's also mega wealth. Okay, it's a lot of wealth. I don't know why. I don't know why this reminded me probably the lottery. Some sort of control in case you know because what happens is that there's a whole lot more winners that happen during inflation. Maybe there's some kind of holdup right now, but then once it goes to the 5th degree, then we're fine with the banks. But right now, there's some sort of control with banks right now. Okay. And it's not for the people that are barely making it. We're talking about even billionaires. Okay. This is world economy type of with the banks here in Aries that has to do with leaders that are trying to retain control in some kind of way or maybe not approving loans as much, you know, but it's getting along with the moon in Scorpio. So it is in harmony. And maybe it's for a reason that they have to have this control or else they're going to lose money, right? Or else where is the bank going to go? Um, so the moon, what else do I see here? Um, So, I mean, there's this one important one. The Moon Square Formahall. Okay. Formahall is in Pisces. I've been talking about that dangerous star. And, uh, you know, when the moon is in Scorpio at the very last degree, and it is squaring Formahall, which is in, let me see what degree is it on? The moon, um, yeah, it's square Formahall. So let me get out of the moon here. It's at 4 degrees. So it's this star here and it's conjuncting the North Node, okay, in Pisces. There's some change that is happening around the water. You know, this could be something spiritual, okay, where instead of going to the churches today, they went out to the beach, you know, and they started praising Jesus out in the beach, unashamed. And that could be Formahall with the North Node in Pisces that has to do with water. And there, the square that is happening with the moon in Scorpio is because maybe it's impacting churches and real estate. Because let me see, if it's in the fourth house, yes, boom, there we go. Let's see what I mean. Um, it's my intuition that kicks in before I even click on what house it's in. It's just that I could see it in the wheel, but I have so many asteroids and they're all mounted almost together. So it kind of, you know, I have to click somewhere else and to separate those asteroids and the houses there. Anyway, but it's in the fourth house. Okay, that's what I said, boom. Okay, because that's where it looked like it was, and it's where I belong. So there could be something to do with real estate. In the fourth house rules real estate. Okay, it rules real estate, and that's where Scorpio's at with the moon. Okay, and it's already about to change up. Okay, it's gonna go to Sagittarius, but for right now, it's making a challenge with Formahall and the North Node in Pisces, which rules what? Beaches, right? So it's like, how come nobody went to church? How come nobody went to, you know? So it could be something like that. Or it could be, I'm hearing Catholicism, something about Catholicism. Maybe they're paying attention to other people that are doing other things, other religions. But I just heard the download right now. Catholicism is Catholicism. So it might have to do something to do with like structure and real estate, churches, the Vatican, anything like that, that is bringing some sort of challenge. It's just, it's some type of challenge that needs to be resolved. Okay. Some action that needs to be resolved. Okay. Because there's something that's Mars and Pisces over here is taking action. Okay. With Formahawk. Okay. We have over here, because we have Mars and Pisces. Okay. And we also have, so where it's making a square, it's making a square to, right at the, I don't know why it's not even showing up here. I have to click somewhere else so I could see. It is squaring here the Formahawk and the North Node in Pisces. So there could just be, let me look at what house is it. It's in the seventh house of relationships. Wow, that's interesting. So that just means that where the Formahawk is, this star, I wouldn't call it. It just depends how you want to perceive it. If you want to perceive Plutonian energies as dangerous, it's just that this star of Formahawk has done dangerous things, okay, in the sign of Pisces. Okay, what happened to Pacific Palisades? That was the transit of Formahawk. Okay, the fires in Los Angeles, that is what Formahawk did. I looked at the chart and it was transiting exactly when that was happening. Okay, and so it could do things like that. Okay, very damaging, and it's considered, it was dangerous, right? For pets, for animals, for real estate, for people, and it burned acres and acres and acres, and that's what Formahawk can do. But because it's coming together with the North Node, which is like beaches and lakes and all of that, there could be like this explosion of spirituality, okay, that can happen just in beaches. You don't have to go to the church. You don't have to walk inside the church. With Christianity is like we praise Jesus out in the public, like in the beaches and parks and so forth. And so, especially if you live in a really nice area, like maybe somewhere Orange County or something, they will go to several beaches and praise Jesus. And so there's just a little conflict going on with real estate and with how we feel about churches, with the moon in Scorpio at a Leo degree. And Leo has to do with performance. Okay. A lot of Catholic, I'm not trying to, throw them under the bus or nothing. I was a Catholic myself. There's a lot of performance in that. So there also could be some communication coming from Catholicism, something that's very performance. Okay. And it's not real. Okay. That's why I say don't get distracted with the war. Don't get distracted with all of that. I'm trying not to get distracted with that. Because when I see a chart like this and I see such great transits, I'm like, wow. And they're talking about the war and stuff. And then the Pope's getting involved and trying to give advice to, the billionaires, to have peace. And that's a good thing, to, influence them to have peace. But dude, that's not what I see. I see something else. Okay. And I see big transformation. That is, Formahawk can transform with Pisces, the water. Okay. And so that's why I said there's this spiritual, I don't know. I'm just thinking, and I heard that word. What is that word? What is that word when, not revelation. God, it's at the tip of my tongue. Where is it? When, what is it? Oh my God, I can't even remember the word. My pastor used to say it a lot. When people come together, when not reinvention, I forgot. I don't know. I've been in church for a while, but um, it's when people come together, you know. Not re- then the dogs are barking. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna get off. But anyway, it's something powerful, and not to be fearful or nothing. It's just causing a little bit of friction. Maybe people are paying attention to what other churches are doing, and it could be some sort of competition within religion, but it's not a big deal, So anyway, I'm gonna head off here because I've already been here about an hour. And just know that these are really great transits that are happening right now. And I do believe that it has to do with Jesus ascending, okay, and giving us his Holy Spirit and feel things. Go out in nature. I want to go out in nature. I actually need to buy some flowers. I need to buy some white flowers because I always like to, buy flowers, and my old flowers, my birthday flowers, actually, they lasted a long time. And I'm about to throw those out. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a great Easter, a great resurrection. I have a hard time saying that. Resurrection day. And talk to you guys on the next episode. Bye.